Thank you. So thank you so much for having me here today. As I said, my name is Janeth Gabaldon. And when we received the invitation to be here, we said, well, what can we share that we are really good at it? And that's when we proposed sponsored research. Now, just make sure I have it working. Here you are in Panama, and Panama is the heart of the global trade. You're really lucky to be living and working in the Panama area. 5 to 6% of everything that moves around the world, you move it. You provide a service for logistics, so you are central. Imagine what would happen without you in the world. But the question is, what if? What if you stop being a service to trade things around the world? What if you are the next hub? What if you change the supply chain management all for the Americans? Now, that I think is a really good challenge for you to have and to take over. And here's when sponsored research comes in. Sponsored research is a unique type of research that we do, and it has 3 main characteristics. First, accelerate innovation. It's a tool, it's a technique. How can we make sure you accelerate innovations in Panama? Second, use it to form the next supply chain leaders. You people of university acting in the world, they are going to rule the world in the next 5 days. How do you prepare them? What are you doing for them? And the third part of sponsored research, it is how do you transform logistics? Now, let me talk to you about us. Okay, it's a little, there you go. As Dave mentioned, I'm a professor of the University of Arkansas. The University of Arkansas has different colleges. I'm assigned to Walton College of Business. I teach undergraduate and graduate classes. So my job is to have classrooms, and I teach up to 500 to 600 kids every semester. Once you finish, my job is that you learn end-to-end supply chain. How do you select suppliers? How do you compete? How do you negotiate? All the way to make sure you have that in the place at the time that the customer needs that. I also teach at the graduate level. I have 70 to 75 students all over the United States. And the goal for them is, as soon as you finish my class, you get out with certificates. Education is to make people stronger, not just to create a knowledge. Now, within the university, we're real lucky. We are the #1 program of supply chain undergraduate for 6 years in a row. In all North America, we're the best. We know what we're doing with supply chain. How do we get there? 3 things. 1, at the bottom, you're going to see here, industry value. As universities, what the value that you are providing with your students? Because my job is, as soon as you finish your career, you should have a job. Not wait until you're finished. What's the industry that we provide to them, with the value that we provide? Second, the program scope. How do you prepare the students once they are outside in the workforce? And third part, it is the program size. We're one of the biggest program size in the United States. We are at top 25 public universities of the United States. Then we have the 7 of our faculty in the Walton College are top 2% scientists in supply chain only. So we have the best scientists that can help us to solve problems, which is something that we need to leverage with. And I'm sure Panama has fantastic scientists too. We just need to connect them. And we are R1 institution, meaning we have high standards for research, placed in 3.7% top in the United States. How do we achieve that? Doing a lot of things, but the main part, it is sponsored research. For those of you who are not familiar with Arkansas, here's the Arkansas map. We are located in Northwest Arkansas, which is, I don't have a pointer here, but imagine. So the Northwest Arkansas, we work based on ecosystems. We are home of Walmart, J.B. Hunt, Arvest. As a business school, who do we have and know right in the backyard? For Panama, what is your ecosystem? How many companies do you have? When do you have it? Why do you have those companies here? Get to know the ecosystem of your own place. So now, with that in mind, we have the research center, which I serve with. So I'm in charge of all the sponsored programs. Every time that we have a research that is going to be sponsored, it goes through me. We negotiate it, we talk, and we see if we can get partners or not. These are the companies that we have in the research center. They work with us every semester. And I think we have 5 more signing in the next couple of months. Because of that ecosystem, we use sponsored research to do 3 things, like I mentioned. Create innovation, educate people, make sure they are ready and prepared for the workforce. And the third one is change the supply chain. I was really excited when Dr. Tompkins said, let's move from logistics to supply chain, because you have that power. You can rule supply chain ecosystems. We just need you to train and create partnerships to do that. Before teaching what sponsored research is, I want to provide you 2 examples that are really well known in the United States. This first example deals with cold supply chain. Some commodities, as you know, can go into dry. Others are temp sensitive. So there was a big company in the United States, a 3PL, and they were having problems with their manufacturing. So the manufacturer creates a product, has to be temp controlled. The 3PL comes in and starts moving that product. But there was a lot of waste, inefficiencies, and spoilage. So they go to a university, research center, and they said, well, this collaboration is going to be based on 2, private industry and university. What do we need to do? Easy. Let's figure out how we're going to reduce inefficiencies and have as much product to the customer, as much as possible. So the research center comes in and I said, okay, give me your data, company. We analyze the data, we call the experts that we have in-house as universities, and we try to get that problem solved. We ended up analyzing and said that if we optimize warehousing locations, we can solve inefficiencies. But we also need to look inventory balance and on top of that, add technology for visibility and control. So we said, company, if we tackle these 3 things, we can solve your problem. Just give us time, and we're going to get there. So the university works with the company for a couple of months, 6, 7 months, and we ended up having 3 big impacts. The first one, 80% of that results, or 80% of the product was decrease in inventory allocation and temp control. Then, this is the fun part, operational playbook. Once we sit down, company and university, we ended up seeing that the companies have a really poor rules of how to move cold temp or temp control problems. So we ended up writing a full playbook and how the things should be moved, when and how, based on that study. By the next year, that playbook is used not only by that company, but for 4 different companies in the United States. That is one of the impacts on sponsored research. It's not just about the company. It's not about the university taking the credit. It is what's the social benefit that we can create together for that. Cold chain was different since then. We have make sure that the model is scalable, that it's applicable to other areas, and then industry expertise. Researchers and the company ended up having training in control towers for 3PLs, training in AI algorithms about how to read the inventory, and then we use sensors to track that temp control all over the supply chain. And it stays how it is. That's one example only. But you might say, well, Janeth, what if the government gets involved? What if we partner with 3 different people? In this case, we're looking at advanced and autonomous supply chains. So the Department of Defense of the United States says, we have resources, but we need to advance autonomous supply chains. To do that, we cannot do it in the defense logistics space. We need a company. So a big 3PL raised their hand, and they said, use me. Academics said, well, we're going to use algorithms, drones, and for this one, they use resiliency. So we're going to create a project. The government wants to advance resiliency. We're going to apply that resiliency in the industry to test. And then the researchers are going to provide the framework and how to do it. It was a 2-year program. We need industry. That's what I get into. As a college of businesses, you are our lab. You are the safe space when we can move things and create an impact. And the cool thing is that drones right now are used by the Department of Defense to get cookies to the people in the other side of the world. But also Walmart is using the same drone nowadays to deliver your pizza or your pharmacies or pharmaceuticals outside of your house. It is not about benefit companies, universities, or government. It is about how we're going to change the ecosystem. If you are from the government here, what are you doing to improve? If you are from the industry, what are you doing? What do you need? If you are from education, how can we support that? So we have 2 big examples. The really cool thing about this specific example, number 2, with 3 partners, is that it was a breakthrough innovation. Then we have national security value and private value. But the researchers that ended up working in this, undergraduate, graduate, and professors, they went to industry, and they went to work with Department of Defense to continue this program. So what is the value after the program? Are you going to continue? What did you change in reality? This morning, the University of Arkansas released a hashtag that is called Delivery Impact. So in my office is, if you're not creating or delivering impact, don't do it. Companies have limited resources. Be honest with the company. What can you do and what can you deliver? Be honest with the government. See who is your match to do that. So what is sponsored research? This is the academic definition, but think about this way. A company, a government, of a university spot a challenge, a problem. Then, one of these 3 organizations provides the funds to get the problem solved. And together, we co-create the solution. What is your faculty? What is your mind? What are your skills? But also, where is the problem applied? Who identified the problem? So that is sponsored research. And why is it so important to create an impact? Because of 3 things. And I have to say, sponsored programs have a lot of types. It could be contracts, it could be grants, it could be just associations trying to do something. But if you are going to do sponsored research, you have to have 3 characteristics. First, results. Expect to deliver something in exchange for those funds. It is a project, it is a report, it is a new algorithm, it is a technology. What are you expecting to receive in exchange of that? Then the second part is financial accountability. When you are working with sponsored research, I have to do a detailed budget. These $3, where are you going and why? How are they going to be used? So we sit down beforehand and create all the financial accountability for all the parts. And the third one is a specific periods of times. When are we going to get this thing done? Are we going to fund the project in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? If we have those things clear, believe me, you can create innovation. You can accelerate really quick. But you have to be really clear about what you're doing. We sit with our partners every 2-3 days to create this. When you have the characteristics of a sponsored research on these 3 main characteristics, you're going to find that the practical applications of sponsored research have to be really fast. It has to be applicable and it has to be on point. You have to have measured outcomes. And because of that, at the bottom, you're going to see most of the significant benefits. When we enter in this type of research and agreements, We build capabilities. Everyone has to walk out of that program better off. That the company creates something, solves something. What do we get from that sponsored research? We academics. What was the value that we provided even for our students, for our researchers, or for our centers? And then the government, if it's involved, how did it change? Where the funds are going to be delivered? The other part is that it has dual value. Some companies, and you're going to hear that a lot, some companies, they have the research and development offices. Have you heard of those? So you might say, wait a minute, why do I need an academic to come back and tell me what to do if I have my full R&D research? It is not about telling you what to do. It's take a step back and let me see the whole picture. Let me put experts in the case. Let me create scientific knowledge and applicability. But then in return, you're going to have industry speed. Let me work with your team. And here you have to be really careful because a lot of companies, they don't want to disclose information. It's an advantage of every business. So you have to be really clear with those terms. And the third part is the act has a catalyst role. Sponsored research has to have a main goal. What are we changing, when, and how, and whom are we changing? Usually with my students, at this point, I take like a 5-minute break and I say, do you have questions? But if you do have questions, please just keep in your mind, more than happy to answer them once we finish, because I want to hear your questions or your experience on this. So let's move a little, I'm going back. Let's move to the next step. So we know what the sponsored research is. You know what the benefits are, but I want to show you how do we create this value at the University of Arkansas with our programs. And we see this as a 3-bridge framework. The first thing that we need to decide is, what is the pain point? What is the problem that we're going to solve? Is it an academic problem, industry problem, government problem? And then, who is identifying that problem? Because that is going to change, and that is going to shape how we're going to promote or develop or implement that program. If you have that, then you go into the next phase. Sit back with them and say, how are we going to design a solution for this, but it has to be a collaboration. Usually here, you're going to see that you have a lot of values or expertise, and not all the universities are going to be your fit. Not all the companies are going to be fit. And sometimes you don't want the government involved. You go faster without just industry and academia. If you can land to a real applicable collaboration design, you can move to the third step. Here, we're going to talk about outcomes. Is the project funded? And if not, how are we going to fund it? And then, what are we going to get in return? What should we deliver? Can I compromise for that? And if not, just don't get involved. Again, sponsored research is fantastic, but it comes with this honesty in industry and everyone involved. And that's how we get change. At the bottom, I want to show you something. As an outcomes, we have 2 options. If the project is deliverable and it has an impact, we as a university, we partner with you. But if it's not deliverable and it doesn't have an impact, we take you to another university, other experts that can be a better fit for you. Not every program has to be taken in. You have to be really careful with that and compromise that. Time flies here. I only have 10 minutes. So I want to show you something else. When you're forming your sponsored research, think of 3 different spheres. I don't know which one are you working with right now, but this is the first one. Completely independent entities. First is the government. The government is going to provide you with a bird view. In the United States, right now, we have a lot of semiconductors. We're putting a lot of resources in AI because we have a big playbook Supply chain is coming fantastic, not only logistics. We have a lot of earth minerals. So the government work is, look at Panama. What do we need? Where do we need to invest? It's people, it's resources, it's technology. Right now I'm writing a book that is how technology is changing supply chains. This is not a commercial, it's just something that I believe, sorry. That is the government side. Now, examples like this, we at the university will look for federal, state, local, and government legislations. The second bubble that you need to think about it is the university, academia. What do we bring to the table? Now, as an academics, we have something. We need to differentiate the truth versus the hype. What technologies are just sounding? What are right now kind of buzzwords? But what is true? What is going to drive the needle? How we uncover, scientifically speaking, those details. That is our job as an academia. Let us help us with that. Now, we have faculty expert. We have students that they have been trained in scientific methods. In my case, I have the research center, which has 8 different kind of disciplines. So I can pull, or I can call people from accounting, finance, entrepreneurship, all these disciplines that can help me to solve your problem. So we have a convenient place. And then the third bubble that you need to consider here, it is industry. Why industry is so important for us? Imagine you without industry, if just government or education. Industry is what makes things work in a lot of ecosystem. Now, industry helps us to see how fast things are going on. What are the problems that we're having? How do we deal with those? What is the workforce? Who do we need to train for? Do you need data? Do you finance? Right now, we're having a really boom with our companies. They're asking for cybersecurity technologies and soft skills. New students need to learn how to think, not ChatGPT everything. New students need to learn how do you going to solve problems right in the spot and make that or those things a tool for you. In an age of artificial intelligence, human intelligence has to stay. Your brain is not any algorithm. So let us come back with that mentality. Now, sponsorships can come from all of those spheres. The one who provides the sponsor or provides the sponsor, because we can be partners in it, we, industry, academics, we have funds that we can help you if we have it, invest in it. Economic funds, we do. Just let us, how can we help and come up as a partnership? Because if you provide $1 and I provide $1 and the government does, do you think that everyone is going to work better? Do you have a stake in it? Make accountable for that. So imagine, sponsored research is so different that each one of these bubbles is one of my projects as a company. For example, right in the corner you have, my goal is to have the middle point. Right now in Arkansas we have that grant is an $1 million. With $1 million we're going to use that to create a full transportation system that can benefit the state of Arkansas across universities. We take technical universities, big universities, we sit down and said, companies, we're going to create a full transportation data center ecosystem. How can we help them? My job is to talk with industry and make sure that content knowledge is applicable to you. Then I have also other one that is really cool, like this one. Imagine that the together bubbles is me and a company. Don't say, but it's JB Hunt. Have you heard about them? Yes. Okay, perfect. So the big transportation company comes and I said, we have a problem. And I said, what's going on? Cargo theft. Have you heard about that? Cargo theft and fraud? It's a big problem nowadays. Strategic theft. And I said, what's going on? We need to come up with a framework, a scientific framework to solve this. So we're going to partner with them, and then that report is going to inform the government about how to counteract theft or fraud. I have programs with private industry, like just the two of us, to improve food supply chain, make sure the kids can eat. How can I improve the food banks so people don't go without a meal a day? It's all these type of combinations that you can do with sponsored research. But always, it's important for you to understand the challenges. Academics' goals are completely different than industry goals. Industry needs to move fast. Academics take the time to create knowledge and report. So what is the middle ground for sponsored research? The other challenge, too, is solutions. Think about it. If I create a new algorithm that can control a command center, who is going to get that IP, intellectual property? The government, the university, or the company? It's a really good challenge to have. We can sit down and create that. But that is the magic of sponsored research. So we're running out of time. We have 3 minutes. I don't like to rush, but I like to close my conversations with something that you can do. Walk away a little different than the way you come in. That's it. That's my goal with my students, even if we need to learn how to select suppliers sometimes. So we sit down with you and we do a scorecard. If we partner, what are the strengths? What are the challenges that we're going to have? Do we have opportunities? Do we have risk? And if we have risk, let's mitigate those ones from your perspective and my perspective. And then, what do we need to enable that project? So the scorecard is a simple way to see if we are a good match. And if you are from industry, think about, I would like to have 5 considerations that we talk with our partners in industry. Are we a good fit? Or do we need industrial engineering? And we can pull people from there. Are you looking to something different? What are the commodities that you're looking? What is the strategic goal of your company? Do you want to exit it? Or do you want to create a complete different project? Now, operational, is that going to be relevant for you? Let's talk about IP and talent development. If you come from academics, don't forget your research value. But every time that you're doing a project, see what the value for your students are. How you fostering those connections, because that people is the one that is going to create the new wave of supply chainers. And always get them involved. It's really nice seeing them creating an impact and delivering impact. If you are for the government, I'm not telling you what to do. Thank you for all the support that you do. But I wanted to invite you to collaborate with people that you have. So this conference is called Connect, Educate, and Inspire. Right, Emma? So we want to invite you to use sponsored research to innovate and to transform Panama. Now, where do you see Panama in 2030? What are you looking for? Study your ecosystem. Northwest Arkansas, we're good at supply chain, good in logistics. My research is transportation, technologies, and distribution. But we have a lot of venture capitalists. We have relations with the senators for the defense logistics. We want to be best in retail, logistics, and defense. We love our country in some way. What do you love about your country? What do you need? How can we help with? So for these 30 seconds, I just want to say thank you. It's been wonderful having your attention for the last 30 minutes. It went really fast for me. I hope it was the same for you. And I'll be just walking around if I can be of help in any way. Thank you so much.